So, what is medical waste disposal? Medical waste disposal is the process of getting rid of medical waste while minimizing the amount of risk from it. What is medical waste exactly? Medical waste includes any type of fluid or waste that comes out of the body at any point during a treatment process, including both body fluids and blood. Medical waste also includes any supplies used in the treatment process, such as needles, gloves, scalpels, etc., or any other supplies that may come into contact with body fluids or blood.
Who is affected by medical waste? At-risk individuals include the general public, including school personnel, the environment, which are found in landfills, and healthcare workers. Biomedical waste poses a severe risk to public health and the environment. It acts as a host for a variety of pathogenic microorganisms. Those pathogens then, if not managed well, may enter the human body through a number of different ways, which can cause illnesses like respiratory infections, skin infections, hemorrhagic fevers, viral hepatitis, and influenza. Where is medical waste disposal an issue? Hospitals, medical facilities, such as doctors' offices, clinics, and blood banks, medical research facilities, which include laboratories, medical autopsy centers, which house people who are no longer living, and schools, specifically K through 12. According to the World Health Organization, out of the total amount of waste generated by healthcare facilities, about 85% is general non-hazardous waste. The remaining 15% is considered hazardous material that may be infectious, toxic, or radioactive. Every year, an estimated 16 billion injections are administered worldwide, but not all of the needles and syringes are properly disposed of afterward.
So why is medical waste an issue? Well, firstly, when improperly disposed of, infectious waste may cause disease. The emissions of infectious disease, which is often composed of bodily fluids and substances, release disease-causing agents that may infect you by entering your body through one of several ways. This includes cuts on the skin, inhalation, ingestion, and entrance through the eyes, nose, and the mouth. In fact, you may have heard others repeatedly tell you during the COVID-19 pandemic, do not touch your face. Specifically, they're talking about these three parts because these three parts have surface membranes that allow disease to easily enter your body. This will ultimately cause higher infection rates in large populations, and it may even lead to another pandemic. For example, viruses are often transmitted through needles that have been contaminated with human blood. In fact, this is a major concern for the spread of viruses that researchers are looking into today to learn how to control this specific spread. Another important example is the spread of microorganisms that are drug resistant. What does this mean? This means that these microorganisms are already inherently resistant to a lot of the available treatments and methods that we have today. However, if they are allowed to spread in large populations, they'll become even more resistant and harder to treat later on. Further, the disposal of medical waste in landfills can also cause contamination of water sources. If these landfills in which medical waste is disposed of are not properly maintained, it may allow its emissions to contaminate nearby water supplies and sources. This includes drinking water, groundwater, and surface water. Surface water includes any natural water sources such as ponds and lakes, and these pose really big potential risks to the natural environment and wildlife. Now, what are our methods to treat medical waste? The most commonly used method is incineration. Incineration is basically the process of burning something, and it is used very often in waste management. However, the issue with incineration is that it often produces toxic waste, and it also produces toxic emissions. Incineration of waste is a widely used mechanism. However, it may lead to the production of pollutants into the air and other harmful and toxic substances. For example, incinerated materials containing chlorine can generate substances known as dioxins and furans. These substances are considered to be human carcinogens. This means that they may cause cancer in some individuals or otherwise cause a wide range of health effects. In order to ensure the safest and least harmful emissions of incinerators, they must operate at very high temperatures and further require special equipment, both of which may be very difficult to implement and ultimately implement on a wide scale, causing this method of disposal to not be ideal. Now, to increase proper disposal of medical waste, we must do two different things. Firstly, we must increase awareness. Now, this includes raising awareness of the risks related to healthcare waste, along with being able to inform the public of safe practices when it comes to the handling of medical waste. Here's an important point. Medical waste does not just concern hospitals and other health facilities. Medical waste concerns you and your home. Now, also, regulations must also be established to enforce safe medical waste management practices that limit the safety and health hazards of its disposal. This includes legislation to push and incentivize organizations to safely dispose of medical waste and impose accountability on these organizations for failing to do so. Now, here in the United States, the Environmental Protection Agency oversees much of the medical waste disposal that occurs. However, such regulation and legislation seems to be majorly missing in other countries around the world, meaning that medical waste is an even larger issue in these countries. So where is more research needed? Well, More work is needed to understand what the best method of medical waste disposal is, as well as the complete effects of medical waste. As we have discussed, incineration may not be the ideal method to dispose of medical waste because of its toxic emissions and because of all the difficulties it comes with regulating it really well. Now, alternatives to incineration include chemical treatment, autoclaving, microwaving, and compacting. Of these, autoclaving seems to be the most promising alternatives, as it is overall less costly and there is virtually no risk of harmful environmental emissions. However, this is not completely true. Also, medical waste disposal is not a one-size-fits-all type of problem. There are so many different types of medical waste that are produced in so many different types of areas, and we must work really closely with these organizations to establish what the best methods of disposal are for these various types of waste and what will pose the least risk to the public health as well as the environment.